look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too. So look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too.
So Kamala Harris, the Democrats, I mean, we know they're panicking because new polling has just dropped, and it confirms that she has actually nosedived. This poll is from the most accurate pollster from the 2020 election, so we're going to take a look at that. Now, what is the Democratic Party's response, right? What are they doing in response to this new polling? Well, it's a bunch of desperate decisions, and I want to take a look at each of these desperate decisions that the campaign has been making. And let's start with the first one from Detroit.
I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud like Detroit. Resilient like Detroit.
So she brought Lizzo out, and my only question is, so will the country be crime-ridden like Detroit? Because we know Detroit was ranked the second least safest city in America. Yes, let me say that again. The second least safest city in America. So is that really the standard? I find it funny how triggered they get when we just state the obvious about Detroit. Detroit is not a safe city. It's not the city it used to be. As long as Democrats continue to control that city, it will never be what it used to be. That's just a fact. You can say the same thing about Chicago. Chicago, Detroit, the potential is there, but the Democratic policies are killing these cities, especially when they're so soft on crime and they are taking on all these illegal migrants, which is draining resources, etc., etc. Now, if you thought that was desperate, look who turned out in Atlanta.
I love you more, but I love Kamala Harris even more. I want her to be our next President of the United States. And we can do it, but we're gonna do it together. One more time. We ready? What? Come on, Georgia. What?
Now, let's just have a little fun. Maybe this is speculation, maybe it's a conspiracy theory, maybe it's actually true. Because remember, September 12th, what did Usher say on The View? Oh, I don't get into politics like that. I'm not really into doing all that. It's a personal choice. Okay. And then what? A couple weeks later, Diddy was indicted and Usher happened to wipe his entire Twitter feed of anything that had to do with Diddy. And now we're what? About a month since then, and you're out here campaigning for Kamala Harris? I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there isn't. I just find the irony to be very funny.
I think that behooves artists to come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I think voting is an individual choice.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel.
I'm supporting Vice President Harris because she fights. I love you more, but I love Kamala Harris even more.
But yeah, I think that's really desperate. She tried the Megan Thee Stallion thing in the beginning. Now she's bringing out Usher. I mean, if that doesn't scream desperation, I don't know what does. And here's the thing about it. The bigger picture, it doesn't matter if it's Usher or some other celebrity. Her main strategy is to leverage the power of celebrities to get people to vote. But history has shown that doesn't work. Now, of course, Kamala Harris, she has a couple of clips where... I mean, I don't think this is the best way to motivate people to vote for you, but hey, who am I, right? I'm just some guy on YouTube. Check this out.
So look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too. So look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too.
I don't think Jimmy Carter is the best example to motivate people. Now, that's got to be elder abuse. I mean, the Democratic Party, they just don't give a shit about their seniors. I mean, Jesus, the way they were treating Joe Biden and the way they've been treating Jimmy Carter, I mean, that is crazy. Now, of course, the person who's crazy is Kamala Harris because, she thinks she's the funniest person in the world.
And of course, Usher. Got you.
Okay, well, we talked about Usher earlier and we know what's going on there, but now it brings us to her surrogates who are having a tough time defending what's going on here. They are all in denial. They can't answer any questions at this point because we know this whole campaign is manufactured on a lie.
People are still supporting Donald Trump despite what you're saying. His message is getting through.
Donald Trump has done nothing for the state of Wisconsin. And, we have the best economy we've ever had, the largest budget work that we've ever had. And we're in a good shape. And people are making more money than they ever made. So we're in a good place, and it had nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Let's go back to the economy. You say we're in good shape. People I talk to in this state, in your state, don't seem to be feeling that.
That is a great example of what's wrong with her campaign and the Democratic Party. They operate with this certain level of delusion or arrogance, or they're just so out of touch. How could you say that we have the best economy and people are making more money than they ever have when you have people who are struggling just to get by, right? That even if what you say is true, politically, you can't say that because it doesn't land for voters. That's why Trump has an advantage here, because you guys haven't been able to fix that messaging. You keep saying something that voters don't agree with and don't feel. Just because it says it on black and white paper and your wealthy friends are obviously experiencing the benefits of this economy, it doesn't mean that working class American citizens are experiencing that same economy. And that is the disconnect with their messaging, of course. And the other disconnect is we all know that she's a flip-flopper. So, of course, CNN brought on Bernie Sanders and asked them about that. I think you're going to find his answer pretty interesting and desperate.
So I know you know this, but in addition to the Green New Deal and Medicare for all, single payer for health care, and ending fracking, in addition to those being positions that you hold, Vice President Harris used to be with you on all three of them and now is against you on all three of them. Is she making a mistake having reversed those positions?
Look, Jake, I think what we're seeing is a coalition of people, more establishment Democrats and progressive Democrats, and progressive independents, I'm the longest serving independent in American history, come together with the goal of defeating a very dangerous candidate, and that is Donald Trump. In terms of Medicare for all, I personally believe that the current system is broken, dysfunctional. Its major goal is to make billions in profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies, and we end up spending twice as much per capita on healthcare as the people of any other country, while 87 million are uninsured or underinsured. I think it's a broken system.
But Bernie Sanders, this has happened under the Democratic Party. They've been in charge out of this last 16 years, 12 of those years are under your watch. So these complaints you have, why are you not directing that towards your own party? I find that to be interesting. The second thing, now he's on board with Trump is a danger to democracy, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, he has nothing to answer when it comes to Kamala Harris's flip-flopping. In fact, I don't know if he knows this, but he's admitting out loud that she's saying whatever she's got to say in order to win this election. And one more thing, too. In the beginning of his answer, he said established. So are you saying the establishment is coming together to make sure that Trump does not get back into the White House? I think we all know that's actually what's happening here. Now, of course, Bernie Sanders is in denial, and so is Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. Here's his answer to pretty much the same question.
Polls do show that more Americans feel as though President Biden's policies have hurt them rather than helped them. So can you name one key policy difference between Vice President Harris and President Biden? How would her administration look different?
You know, I've been really encouraged by the amount of energy that Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, has put into focusing on how she will cut taxes for small businesses. The focus on child care tax credit expansion. That's something I've done here in Pennsylvania. We've seen that work to ease the burden on families. I think a focus on those kinds of things is particularly important. And those are the kinds of things I think Kamala Harris has brought specifically to this race.
Those aren't necessarily differences, though. They're an expansion or a tweak to some extent to what's been done. Can you name one policy difference?
Well, listen, again, the contrast I am focused on, Kristen, is between her and Donald Trump.
Yeah, so her and Donald Trump is not the answer to the question. We know, any person with a brain knows there's a difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. I mean, they do represent separate parties, right? I mean, duh. But the question is, what's the difference between her and Joe Biden? Why? Because 70% of the country believes we're going in the wrong direction because of the Biden policies. So can you please just answer the question? And we know that they can't. And that's why she's nosedive in the polls. That's why these polls have the Democratic Party panicking. That's why they have switched their entire message to Trump is bad, he's unhinged, he's not mentally fit. But I believe it's just too little too late. Maybe if they started that 2 months ago and continued to hammer it home, maybe it might have had an impact. But people are already voting. So before we get to these polls, do me a favor. If you get value from this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below. You can grab yourself a t-shirt or buy us a cup of coffee. Okay, so we're going to go through 3 parts of this polling to make sure you guys are updated and you're encouraged about what the outcome is going to be here shortly in the next couple of weeks. Overall, when it comes to the general election and they take in everyone who is on the ballot, Donald Trump comes out ahead about 3 points. So 3.1, he's ahead of Kamala Harris. So this is obviously bad news. And then Kamala Harris, historically, during this entire campaign, she's been up somewhere around like 1 or 2 points. But when the most accurate pollster is coming out and saying Trump is up by 3, yeah, I think we need to start ringing the alarm. And here's the second part of this. So trust to deal with the greatest challenges to the United States. So what they're doing is they're just going through each of the issues that people are focused on when it comes to casting their vote. And as you can see, like we always have said, Kamala Harris leads on the abortion conversation. She leads on healthcare, but only by 1, which is interesting. Safeguarding democracy, Trump is up by 2. That's crazy. The U.S. economy and job market, Trump is up by 8. Reducing inflation, Trump is up by 9. And immigration, Trump is up by 12. So what does that really mean and why does it matter? Well, it means that people are not stupid, okay? Just saying that Trump is a threat to democracy isn't going to cut it, right? At the end of the day, you hate Trump, you want me to hate Trump, but I still got to pay my bills. Okay, and so finally, we got what the swing states are reporting. They got Trump up by 3.3 in Pennsylvania, Trump up by 2.8 in Michigan, Trump up by 1.4 in Georgia, Trump up by 0.6 in Arizona, Trump up by 0.3 in Nevada. Kamala is up by 0.7 in North Carolina and 0.7 in Wisconsin. So all things considered, if this actually was true, the Electoral College map would look 286 for Trump, 252 for Kamala Harris. Now, part of the reason why we're seeing these numbers actually turn into reality and why Trump is on his way for a win is when you hear ABC reporting the turnout for Republicans when it comes to early voting and the decline for the Democrats. Listen to this.
But based on the likely partisanship of the voters that we've seen so far, we're seeing more Republicans as a share of the electorate than Democrats. Take a look at that. 4 years ago, less than a third, only 32% of people that had voted so far were Republicans. That's up 6 points so far this cycle. Now, that could be a sign of enthusiasm among Republicans. It could be because Donald Trump is sometimes at least supporting early voting. And it may be that these are voters they're going to vote anyway on Election Day. But the bottom line is that people are voting and they're enthusiastic about this race. In Pennsylvania, we've seen Republicans so far ahead of the 2020 pace. Again, Democrats are still a larger share of early voters, but there are more Republicans in just about all of the states we've seen significant votes so far.
And I guess that's why the Kamala Harris campaign is doing whatever they can to get people to vote. And I guess some of these strategies that they are deploying, besides the whole Trump is unstable, are just out of this world. Like this new strategy in regards to pop the balloon. If you are a man and you want to get a date, you got to get out there and vote. I know that sounds crazy, but take a look at this.
A really nice place. Have you been here before?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots. I bring everybody here. I said not go on a lot of dates, but... Hello, ladies. I'm Trey. It's good to be here.
What do you do and how much do you make?
I work in finance, making 6 figures.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Do you have a plan to vote in November?
Nah, not my thing.
Okay, I mean, it's funny, right? I've watched Pop the Balloon. If you haven't, you know, if you want to burn some time, it is entertaining. Anyways, I digress. Maybe this might work. I don't think it will. Again, I find it interesting that only black people are in this ad. Okay, that's one. Two, obviously, this is a dig at men. I don't know why they keep thinking shaming men or trying to confront men to vote for Kamala Harris is the solution. The problem with the Democratic Party is when you try to treat people as if they're less or different than everybody else, the opposite happens, okay? Black people, black men, Asian men, Latino men, we're all Americans. Can you just treat us the same? And I think that's where her campaign is going wrong, and that's why she's in trouble. Okay, so we see that they're making their rounds. They have no answers for how different her presidency would be from Joe Biden. We know she's whiffed on that. I guess at this point, they're letting her loose as pertains to her rhetoric. She's trying to push the idea that Trump is unstable, but really she is the unstable one, which is why the polls are what they are, which I showed you. People are seeing through how fake she is. People are seeing the results. Yes, you tell me that Trump is a threat to democracy, but I got bills to pay. And now they're getting so desperate by bringing Lizzo out, Usher out, and now they're trying to shame men into voting for Kamala Harris by using pop the balloon theme when it comes to dating. This is not a recipe for success, and that is my opinion. What do you guys think about this craziness that we covered in today's video? I don't even know where to start when you really think about it all, but I just really want to hear your thoughts about pop the balloon. What do you think about the polls that came out? What do you think about Usher making an appearance? Do you think that will pay off and actually help people get out and vote for Kamala Harris? I'd love to know what your thoughts are about that. And I also want to know what your thoughts are about a video I did where she not only insulted Catholics, but she also insulted Christians at her rally. I thought it was a huge mistake. If you want to check out that video, you can click on it because it's coming up right now.